Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Puck and Stuff podcast, episode 14, presented by, well, a man can dream.
Yes, that is very true, Tristan. A man can dream.
Well, welcome back, everybody, to the Puck and Stuff podcast. We have a few things to go over, some hockey stuff. It's getting closer to the playoffs, so I think we're all getting pretty hyped for that, eh?
Let's go!
Man, it's 5 teams have clinched.
Yes.
Only one is in the West Division, which is the Avalanche, eh?
Of course. They do have the best record in the league, most points, not surprising. And if you guys are curious, the rest of the teams are from the Eastern Conference, and they are Carolina, first in the Metropolitan, the Rangers right behind them, and we move over to the Atlantic with Florida and Toronto clinching as well. And sadly, I can't see the teams eliminated yet, which kind of sucks, but anyways.
I think we can expect to.
We can expect most of the Eastern Conference gone except maybe 2. Maybe.
Yeah, technically I think it's Arizona, Montreal, Ottawa is out, Arizona's out, I already said that.
Detroit.
Seattle's out, Detroit's out, Anaheim's out. I'm just trying to remember.
Winnipeg's
Chicago. Chicago should be out as well. I can't remember.
I think so, yeah.
I mean, pretty much the teams are solidified, I would say, except for that last wild card spot in the West. And then it's really just mixed match of, all right, who's finished strong in the last 10, 11, 9 games, however many games these teams have.
It's very close.
See where they're seated.
Like, I think you got the East complete. I've said this for a while. I think you got the East completely set out, but we've narrowed it from 9 teams to at least 5 in just the wild card spots.
And that was
even more if we're talking like first, second, third in the Pacific.
And we were talking about that last podcast, right? So that was a week ago. So yeah, it's going pretty quick now.
Yeah,
so.
it's we're getting there quick. I'm excited.
This week included, it's 3 weeks left. So yeah, and then of course it's right into it that next week. So it's exciting. You know, hopefully the weather gets pretty nice for that because I'm trying to watch some games outside, right? But
oh yeah, I can't
it's
wait.
gonna be something. I don't know. Maybe it's because now that this COVID stuff doesn't affect the playoffs specifically, I'm just excited to just have this playoff feel again. Fans in the buildings, electric games, and it's just those are just memories, right? Like I always have those memories of as a kid, right? Watching those playoff games on a summer day when it's like 6 o'clock, and the sun, of course, isn't even close to being down.
Well,
and it's just blazing hot outside, but you're still watching the ice or a game on ice, right? So it's a little childhood thing,
Well, this time when we go and watch that TV, we're actually going to have beers on our hand, actually, and be adults for once. That's going to be weird. Yeah, COVID has obviously passed, but it's not at the rate it used to be, and now we get to live like normal for a little bit. So I'm really happy to have playoffs back, and it's going to be really fun with you. And hopefully our Flames actually go far this time. But
yes,
hey,
sir.
Like we say, a man can dream.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes,
all right. So I think we do have a little bit of news today that we will talk about. And the first thing I'm actually going to mention for the news, Evgeny Malkin from the Pittsburgh Penguins has been suspended for 4 games for cross-checking. And it was he got in a little tussle with Nashville defenseman, gave him a good cross-check right to the nose, and he's out 4 games.
Yeah, so Matt Borowiecki, right, he's a grinder, the veteran leader, so that's his job, right, is to get into the skin of those players, and that's why, like, Nashville is such a deep team and stuff like that, because they have players like that.
But Malkin is a big boy. He's
he's
a Russian.
Yeah, and he ticked him off, and all right, it's simple. It's a stick to the face. Sticks, no matter how hard you even touch someone with the face with a stick, composite or wood, it hurts, man.
Yeah.
It's not the best feeling in the world, so it was deserved. But it's kind of like not off topic, but to me it's like, okay, so we see the Sidney Crosby, how he sucker punched that one player. I can't remember who it was, but he sucker punched a player, I think the game prior. There was no call on that.
I think it was in the same game, but it was just before what Malkin did.
But I felt there should at least been a talking to as well there, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. There's always that talk about superstar saving grace where it's like, pat the superstars on the back, right? Let him whatever. People say that a lot with McDavid because he likes to hold. It's true, he does. I mean, I don't think he's anywhere to whatever, but I feel like something like that should have. Malkin got what it deserved, whatever, but just because how the NHLPA has been or how player safety, has been with the giving out games and suspensions and stuff this year. Like, it's just so whatever. Like, this one was deserved, but you just look at everything all around. It's like, ultimately, that wasn't what it should be compared to the rest. There's been some where guys are getting off scot-free kind of thing, right? They're literally paying for their coffee and the amount of how much they make, right, for the thing they do, and they should have deserved way more, but...
Yeah, for sure. Like, again, like you kind of said, out of every suspension we've talked about this season, this is the most reasonable one. I'm not going to lie, because we've talked about Matthews being suspended for what he did during the winter game. I remember us talking about what Marchand did to the goalie.
Yeah. Getting
a lot of games for that. That was even reasonable. And again, out of every single one, I think this just makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a few out there, obviously, but yeah, makes sense to me. I don't have much more to say. Do you about this topic, or should we just?
Yeah, I mean, so maybe that makes Malkin kind of less. What's the word? Maybe in the playoffs, right? Maybe he kind of watches out a bit more.
Yeah,
just because of that, you get the 4 games, so maybe repeat offenders are always going to get worse. I mean, Malkin's not like that crazy repeat offender like what a Marchand is, for example, but
yeah,
or Nazem Kadri. That's what I'm actually excited, or not excited, but what I'm kind of like curious. I wonder who's going to be getting suspended in the playoffs, man.
Huh? I wouldn't be surprised if
Kadri again, dude. That's just becomes such a liability if you do that again.
It's just annual playoffs. You got to suspend Kadri. It happens every year. Almost.
It's a festivity. It's a holiday.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, National Leafs 7-game loss. Okay.
I wonder if guys...
Kadri National 8-game suspension, yes.
No, I wonder if people make, like, bets on, like, which game Kadri's going to get kicked out of.
Someone could make some good
Someone
money
could make
off
some
of that.
bank off of betting what playoff game Kadri's getting kicked out of. First round, it's usually first round.
Yeah.
He does something stupid.
It just depends, right? Like, you know what? I think there needs to be a national day where it's like, once all Canadian teams are out of the playoffs, I don't know, you parade around your city with paper bags on or something.
Yeah, it's Gary Bettman. He doesn't want a Canadian
team.
No,
exactly.
But anyways, I think we're going to jump also into our next topic. And we're going to... So the NHL has released their 3 stars of the week. So I'm quickly just going to announce one at a time and tell me what you think, Tristan. So our first star of the week is Austin Matthews, center at the Toronto Maple Leafs. He has been going off, scoring more than a goal per game, and he basically gave the Leafs their 6th consecutive playoff berth. How do you feel about that?
51 goals in 50 games. This guy, like, we're literally seeing history. It's pretty crazy. He's going to be the first player. I think he's at 58 goals now, or 59. So I think he's like 1 or 2 away from 60. Yeah. But he's going to get it. And he's going to be the first since Steven Stamkos did in 2012, which is absolutely crazy, right? And this is the era where, you shouldn't be scoring as many goals as you think, but
you are right.
Man, Matthews is... He really is. He's an outstanding player. He is literally it's just... Man, literally... What else can you say? It's just how I see it is with the Leafs. Matthews is gonna have to just keep this rolling through the playoffs. And man, honestly, if he does, and add that with a Jack Campbell, have some really good goaltending by Jack Campbell, I think the Leafs, honestly, all jokes aside, could pull off some rounds. I'm being serious.
You think they beat Tampa or Boston in the first round?
It's all possible, especially if... Think of how the Leafs have been playing now. Because Matthews is... Maybe it's because the team is doing so well that Matthews is, or maybe it's vice versa. Maybe it's because of Matthews, or maybe they're playing off both of each other. But the fact that Matthews is scoring at will, and look at the last few games they've been playing, right? There's no... there's always a few games that are kind of whatever, but they're winning games, right? And they're finding ways to win.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
Matthews just finding some of these goals that he's scoring. I'm like, dude, it's like 1 minute he looks like Draisaitl, with those really tight corner shots, or like the Ovechkin one-timer. Shout out Michael Stone for that one. And that, he is offensive powerhouse. You got also shout out to Mitch Marner for that as well, right? Assisting a lot of those goals, and he really is coming up to his own to be one of the better playmakers in the league. I would say he is. I see he was one of the best. So
he's up there.
It's all working, but yeah, good for Matthews. Well deserved, man. It's just 50 goals. It's just crazy how we scoring that will, man. Seriously, it's just nice to see this, like seeing it happen in history. You know what I mean? Like you being there, like, oh yes, like it's just actually happening when I'm alive. You know, not like hearing about it as a kid, right? So you hear about.
Wait, he scored 2 goals in 27 seconds against Montreal.
That's what it was.
Yeah, that was 2 goals
Oh,
in 27 seconds. That is nuts.
Oh boy.
Wow. Yeah, outstanding player. Amazing talent. It's now I think your next step for Austin Matthews is, can you push Toronto past the first round? That is 100% the next step that he has to take, and if he probably wants to do that, he has to keep up what he's doing, or at least push his team to keep up to his ability of play.
I definitely think, right? I think we know that it will.
But I think it will probably rely most on their goaltending, because obviously they made that upgrade in the defense this season, and all around, yeah, they're looking like a great team. Just if Jack Campbell could stay on his head, that's even a better step for them. Second star of the week was John Carlson, defenseman from Washington Capitals. I don't truly know the whole complete stats on how Carlson has been playing this year, but I know he's probably one of the best performing defensemen. Yeah, he has 63 points so far. He is fifth. Yeah, he's fifth in points for defensemen this year. So he's actually having a pretty good year, and it's obviously showing since Washington is in a playoff.
You know, they're getting their veteran core. I mean, yeah, Carlson would be considered a veteran, I'd say now.
Yeah,
so
most of that core now is veteran.
And you're getting them to still play, man. I mean, that's why Washington could still be a bit of a dominant factor. They could be a dark horse. They really could. It's very possible.
Yeah, for sure.
And of course, it especially becomes even more possible when you have players like John Carlson who's still, you know, playing up to par. You know, still being a top 4 defenseman on your team. He has been for how many years?
Probably a decade at this point.
It's been about 10 now, right? I have to look at the stats completely, but Carlson, yeah. So that's really good for Washington. That's really good to see that they're still getting some players, you know, this recognition that isn't Alex Ovechkin.
Yeah.
Meaning that, you know, there's still some will there, right? They're going to definitely want to win.
Oh,
and they're going to have to play some tough teams because of where they are in the standings. You know, you're not getting home ice advantage. You're going to be playing some tough teams. So seeing this, John Carlson, you know, having a performance like this week and the later, the kind of the last part, the finish line of the regular season, it's good news for Washington.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I don't have much more to say about Carlson. I think he is a very well-rounded defenseman, and he's obviously showing it this year, especially being a veteran on the team, and Washington is filled with tons of them. And yeah, that's as much as I got to say about John Carlson for sure. And our third star of the week was Jonathan Huberdeau, left wing of the Florida Panthers. And we've been talking about this guy all season. He has had his breakout year, and it looks amazing. He's second in points in the league with 104, right behind McDavid. And he's right in between Draisaitl and McDavid. That's kind of convenient. But yeah, this guy is a big part of why Florida's just tearing it up in the East like they have. Like, for sure.
I don't want to say breakout, but I get what you mean, right? It's like finally he's getting the recognition. He really was one of the most underrated players in the league for so long.
I guess
he probably still is.
Breakout, but probably like all-star break.
I know what you mean.
Because
he's
never done this before.
Yeah, Huberdeau, he has always been one of the most underrated. Point given, people still aren't talking about like the real big hockey fans, of course, are, but I don't know about. Like maybe newer hockey fans for say, right? But yeah, the way Florida is, you know, they're getting points from everyone, right? And Huberdeau was just like I was just talking about Mitch Marner quickly about that, right? It's assists. What does he have? Most primary assists in? Sorry, I think Johnny Gaudreau actually, funny enough, has the most primary assists, but overall assists, I think it's Huberdeau has the most.
He does,
and he broke some record. Oh man, I have to go back and. Like, that's just the kind of season Florida's been having, and Huberdeau's been this 3 stars for a few times now, more than once now. This is really good news. Same thing with Washington. You're having your players get into the 3 stars, meaning that they're still playing at a heavy, intense game, even though you're already solidified. Or in this sense, for Florida, they're already solidified, and they're still playing.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? And you take that momentum to the playoffs, yeah. Man, I could that's why Florida's looking pretty bright.
Yeah, for sure. I also did search up two things as you were speaking there quickly. So Jonathan Huberdeau, this is his first 100-point season. The closest he's got to was 92 points back in the 2018-19 season.
Yeah.
And then Jonathan Huberdeau does lead the lead in assists, but Gaudreau is fifth, right behind McDavid, Panarin. Roman Yossi's still up there. Wow.
Yeah, Yossi's been
playing.
He's had a stellar. That's why Nashville to me is a dark horse, man. They just have some players that are just outstanding right now.
Yeah. And then Mitch Marner is seventh, right behind.
But if I'm correct, and you'd have to go into more advanced stats, but primary assists, like of course not just secondary. Yeah. I'm pretty sure, maybe not anymore, but it was about a week or two ago. Johnny Gaudreau was number one in primary assists.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So that's good news here. But yeah, back to Huberdeau, right? Just wow,
what a player! I can't. Good for him for actually hitting that.
It's just nice. Yeah, it is just really nice to see other superstars kind of get their actual recognition, and yeah, like Florida deserves that recognition. So yeah, great for Huberdeau.
Yeah, I don't have much more about to say to Huberdeau, and I'm assuming Tristan does as well. We're going to move on to the last set of news we have, and it's involving the Los Angeles Kings with Drew Doughty. He is out for the rest of the season and has to take wrist surgery. And that's a really tough time for your defenseman, because how you guys are looking in the standings, you're kind of dropping a little bit, and it's getting kind of scary. Because who knows? It looks like Vegas could jump up anytime and take your spot. And wow.
Yeah, so with LA, the thing, what do you lose with Doughty, right? You lose
a top four defenseman.
Yeah, but you also lose that veteran leadership and a Stanley Cup champion, right? Yeah. So that means you don't have that veteran. He'll probably still be in the locker room hyping the boys up and stuff, right? Watching the games, of course, because it was a successful surgery, right? It's just that he can't play because of the surgery.
Oh, he's just getting surgery. This came out today. He's getting the surgery.
Okay. But still, right? So it's like he'll definitely be with them, hyping them up. But because he's not on the bench and stuff, he'll kind of have to take more of a coach, mentor type role to kind of help. Especially like him, he would help a lot because of how young a lot of these players in core are. For example, Sean Durzi, who's coming up to looking like a really good defenseman. I really think he can get a little bit of an elite status in years to come, right? I think Doughty's a great person to be there for him to kind of teach him the roots and stuff. And so I think that's a big loss for them. I don't think it completely makes LA like
useless.
Just pack up, right? Just 8 days, just get ready for the golf course. No, I really think that LA, with their coaching and with how they've been playing, yeah, they've been losing their games. They've definitely been losing to the Pacific teams when it's needed, and so of course you're gonna definitely want to play a team. You probably rather play Edmonton than Colorado, right?
Yeah,
and it just makes sense. But so I still think they have a bit of dark horse ability. But it really is a big loss, right? And Doughty has always been there to solidify. And you know what? Yeah, we always make fun of him, and that's just that's how the league, that's how all the fans are, right, and stuff.
Thanks, Kachuk.
Yeah,
you did that for us.
Everyone calls him overrated, but really he can be solid. He can be solid in some games, right? He can just him on that first pair will just shut people down.
Oh, yeah, right? For sure. I still think Drew Doughty is probably, I wouldn't say a top 10 defenseman, but he is up there in consideration for at least top 15 defensemen in the league right now. Obviously, his age has showed that he's slowing down and everything, but they're still a good team. I wouldn't, for example, if you try comparing Los Angeles to Anaheim, they're both, if you really look at it, they're both very similar teams. They still got the goaltending they had before they even got the prospects. They're still a elite veteran leadership on that team, but just, oh, damn, that's really hard. Yeah, I would say Los Angeles totally has the defense difference that Anaheim does for sure, but I don't see a whole lot of difference in either team, and I wouldn't be surprised if Los Angeles somehow drops down so much and Vegas even takes over the spot and they don't make playoffs, because they're in a situation now because Vegas is 2 points behind Los Angeles, and Vegas has a game in hand. If they win tomorrow's game, right? It's tomorrow?
Yeah. If
they win tomorrow's game, they could possibly and potentially kick out Los Angeles to that spot, and then Los Angeles is like, oh no, we're out of playoff spot.
It's these games are very important. I still don't see LA. I can see Vegas, dropping LA out. But I don't see LA losing their playoff spot. I think what they have to do is just kind of settle down and just get a good win streak going. I think, let's just actually, I'm going to quickly try and pull up their schedule, if I can, and see kind of what they're looking at. Because, you know what, if you're maybe playing teams that are under the 500 mark or under the playoff race, then you know what, it's looking a bit more whatever. So you play Chicago Tuesday, but then you play the Avs. You also play the Blue Jackets Saturday. These are at-home games. What's weird about Los Angeles, because, you know, what would you think with the team? They probably play better at home. Exactly.
Oh, they don't, do they?
But their record isn't as good as it should be.
18, 16, and 4 at home.
Yeah,
20
it's
and 10
very
and
weird.
6 at away. Whoa. Then imagine
Columbus is at home, Chicago and Colorado are away.
You look at that compared to like Calgary's, for example. Calgary's 21, 8, and 7 at home, and 23, 11, and 2 away.
Yeah, so
jeez.
Chicago, Colorado, Columbus. So there's those 2 of those winnable games. Anaheim as well. Chicago again, Anaheim, Seattle, Vancouver. It's possible, right?
It is.
Anything can happen. But yeah, they're just gonna have to be playing some consistency. And the veterans got to be there to show up, man. As well as the young players can maybe hopefully take a bit of an extra step there. Yeah, if they can.
Yeah, for sure. But this whole West, like the whole Western Conference for playoffs, just scares me because obviously we only have one team that has totally clinched. And if Calgary wins their next 2 games, they've clinched. Let's be honest here. And I think Edmonton actually stays second. I don't think Edmonton moves. And unless they take a total collapse, like, for example, LA has. Because LA's on a 3-game losing streak right now. And you still have Nashville. I don't think Nashville moves. I think Nashville's too good to be kicked out of a playoff spot by someone. And then I think, I think Vegas does kick out LA of a playoff spot. And I think the last spot is stuck between Dallas, Los Angeles, and maybe you could say Winnipeg. But maybe. It's going to take a little... Yeah. Because Winnipeg's on a 2-game win streak. Vancouver's on a 3-game win streak. So that last playoff spot is wide open for...
Oh, you're right, though. I mean, it's very possible. I mean, I'm telling you, if LA somehow doesn't make the playoffs, I'm going to, have to... congratulate and be like, man, you were right. That's pretty good, man.
I think that for the Central, the 3 teams, I think they're good. I think I think Colorado stays, I think Minnesota stays, and I think St. Louis stays. I think Calgary stays in first in the Pacific for sure. I think Edmonton stays in second.
I still think Edmonton gets their home ice advantage with whoever they play for third. Yeah.
I'm convinced Vegas will bump up because you were doubting Vegas. I was down Vegas in the last episode when you were agreeing with them because you didn't think Dallas would bump up.
Yeah.
But now I think Vegas will bump Los Angeles out of a playoff spot. I'm confident by next episode, if that's true, that's gonna be hilarious.
Does it almost hurt them the fact that Dallas is a Central team and not a Pacific team?
Oh yeah, it totally does.
I guess so.
If you look at it, Dallas has played 72 games and 86 points. They would technically be third if they were in the Pacific right now. They would be in the third spot.
Weird.
Same with Nashville. If Nashville wouldn't be in a wild card spot, they would be third in the Pacific as well. But the Central is really good. Like those teams are good.
Oh yeah, no, it's like I said, bloodbath, man. All these playoff series.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah, it's gonna be exciting to see kind of how it all plays out. Like you said, right? Certain teams, like it seems like Calgary's thing really is just kind of go 500, 5-5, and then their last 10 you'll be fine. But some other of these teams, right? You're gonna have to play full games. Some of these teams might not be able to even get games to rest their darn players.
I think
because of how close it is.
I think the Flames, as soon as they clinch, I think that's when Sutter kind of realizes he needs to start resting starters for sure because he is.
Like when they clinch the division, you mean?
When they clinch the division, like clinch a playoff berth.
Yeah.
And
well,
I think that's when the division. You know what I mean. But actually, I guess if we're going right on the Calgary, should we just jump right over the Flames recap?
Well, before we do that, actually, we should also mention this because we were talking about Anaheim, but
go ahead.
Ryan Getzlaf, he also was reported to plan to retire. I completely forgot about that. But it just came to my head, so we should probably talk about that quickly. But He was a Calgary Hitmen alumni.
Yeah, my dad.
His number is in the rafters. I
My
always see it.
dad made me feel really old when he said that. He's like, "Hey, do you remember Ryan Getzlaff playing for the Hitmen?" He's like, and I'm like, "Yeah." He's retiring. I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "Do you feel old now?" And I'm like, "I hate you." Yeah, my dad made me
That's
feel
so
really
funny.
old, and I'm only 20. I'm not even 20.
I don't know, but you know what's also kind of funny? Speaking of Hitmen alumni, you know how there's that one end of the dome, you know, like how it's like end of the domes, and there's kind of like there's like those areas for people with like wheelchairs and stuff.
Oh,
on
yeah.
Wednesday. So on the pillars, there's like one picture, and it's of a Hitmen alumni, and it's Michael Stone.
Oh yeah, I forgot
so
Michael
crazy.
Stone used to be a Hitman,
So
and he plays
it's so funny.
Convenient.
It's so I was thinking about this like a while back. It just came to my head again. I've seen Michael Stone so many times and playing hockey. I've seen him play with the Hitmen. I've seen him play for Team Canada when he
Yup.
was on Team Canada in 2012 with the Flames. And
Where did he go after
anything
that?
else? I can't remember who was.
He
with
jumped over to
before.
another team, but then I think the Flames
Yeah.
traded him back for like a pick.
But I've seen Michael Stone in a lot of his careers. Funny how that works, but yeah,
He always comes back. He always comes back to Calgary.
We love him.
We
But back to
love him.
Getzlaff, what a career. Hall of Fame worthy? I say yes.
Yeah, for
100%.
sure. I think even as wow, I can't believe he's been with the Ducks for that long. It doesn't feel that long.
Was it 17, 18 years?
Yeah, because he won the cup with them in 2000.
Whoa, because drafted 2003.
Yep.
That's me almost 19. That's
Yeah.
phenomenal.
Insane. But wow, what a career for him. He got a Stanley Cup. He's won an Olympic gold medal with Team Canada when they went to the Olympics, right?
Yeah, with the
Yep.
Olympics,
the
he was
Olympics in
both,
2010.
would have also won some World
14.
Juniors. I think he's one of those players that have there's this title that some players have. They've just kind of sort of celebrating it now recently. I think like 30 years ago, and I think it's called the Triple Gold Club, and it's Stanley Cup. You win the Stanley Cup, you win the World Juniors, and you win the Olympics. And Getzlaff should be in that.
I think him, Crosby, and a few other. I know Crosby's one
There's
of
a
them.
lot. There's actually a few that you're like, really? Like, you wouldn't see whoever. There's a video I watched on it.
Gimler would have had it if he won in 2004.
Yeah, well, in an alternate universe, he does.
Yes.
That's all I know.
Thank God you.
But yeah, so with Ryan Getzlaff, I'm going to quickly first round, he was 19th pick, first round in 2003. This year, doesn't he have the worst? 50 games played, 31 points, a lot of assists, only 3 goals, but I think he's probably just wanted to spend some time with the family, which is awesome. But let's look at his career
Family man.
stats. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. This is awesome.
Oh, you beat me to it.
Career
Go ahead.
games played, 1,151, 282 goals, 731 assists, 1,013 points with 102 plus minus.
Good for him. What a career.
Saskatchewan boy, eh? I didn't actually know he was from Saskatchewan, but yeah, that's something.
Good for
Man,
him.
it's great to see. I think most he's had is 91 points in a season.
No way.
Yeah, 91
Really?
points. 0809, so it would have been the year before.
What was that? I think that was like 2 years before, right? And they won the cup.
Yeah, it would have
Because
been.
they won it 06,
Yes,
07.
you're right. 2 years. You're right. Yep.
Yeah.
It was in 06, 07, so.
Yeah,
that's
so
awesome.
that was damn. He was a hitman.
I can never find videos. I always I've tried to search up Ryan Getzlaff, Calgary Hitmen, like junior videos to see how they
yeah?
play, right? Because always those NHL stars, right? Always obliterate players and stuff in the CHL and the juniors, but I
Yeah.
can't find anything.
That's funny. But anyways, so great career for Ryan Getzlaff overall. We hope for your best as a family man in your retirement. But sadly, we're not here to talk about Ryan Getzlaff's retirement. We're here to talk about Flames recap, right?
Yes, we are.
And speaking of the Anaheim Ducks and any team in California, the Calgary Flames won on a California sweep.
Good transition.
Yeah, it was beautiful, beautiful. So obviously, when we had our first podcast, we were versing the LA Kings, and we did come out 3-2 against them. That's when we were recording. Yes, I am right. Anyways, then we jump over the Wednesday. We won 4-2 against the Ducks, and then we jump over the Thursday, won 4-2 against the Sharks, and that was the California sweep. And then we played Saturday against the Kraken and beat them 4-1. How do you feel about the performance since we've actually come back?
Okay, I'm gonna quickly collect all my thoughts here. Okay, so
Because when we did that first podcast, they've been on a 4-game win streak.
There's a lot I've been trying to think about. I'm just trying to think how I should start. I'll start with this. Okay. So before the LA game, you have that losing streak, and it's looking a bit sloppy, right? And a little bit terrifying. And I know it sounds whatever. Oh, it's 3 games. And it makes no sense now, right? But the reason why I was a little bit worried is because, and I saw this a lot, you play a team with a hot goalie, and you just couldn't get the puck past the net, and the depth scoring has really lost its touch the last, I would say, 20 games. And I said there's a problem with the playoffs. Of course, I'm thinking so forward in that sense, but of course, like Daryl Sutter would say, right, you got to focus on the now. You haven't even, clinched a spot yet. But it's good. I think they really needed to get away from the Dome, a new change of scenery, kind of play spoiler, and that's what they did. That LA game was gritty and hard. It was a great win. The first line in these first 3 games, just absolutely disgusting. Like, there has to at least, I wish, maybe this is like whatever, but I just wish there's more recognition around the league with the Gaudreau line. Because Tkachuk, Lindholm, and Gaudreau seriously are putting up numbers like no other. And it's just, it's phenomenal. It's amazing watching them, right? Like,
yeah,
it's a treat to like actually pay the ticket right now and watch this team, right? And I've been saying that at the start of the year, and I'm still saying it now because of this first line, a lot of it with him. Jacob Markstrom had some bounce back games, and I cannot complain about that. Vladar played the Anaheim game, right?
He played San Jose game.
Game.
That's exactly what we wanted him to play too, because that was needed.
Back. And it was needed, and he's been playing good. Seriously,
he is a good backup goalie that we need to put him in more situations like that.
I
we
almost
need to rest him.
Wish
we need to rest Markstrom.
we make him play a bit more because he'd even get his confidence up more because he is playing significantly good backup goaltender hockey. He's doing the basics, and he's just getting wins. He still gets wins.
If I look at his stats right now, so he's won 10 games, he's lost 5, and he's went to OT once and lost. He has a 2.78 goals against average, and he's a 906 save percentage.
It's not terrible. It's not terrible
for
numbers.
A backup, that's really good. And then you still obviously have Markstrom, 34 wins, 14 losses, 8 OT losses with a 2.16 goals against average with a 925 save percentage. Like, that's a good tandem for starter backup. That's really good.
It's amazing tandem because I don't know, man. I think taking it to the playoffs, I cannot complain.
No.
One thing to say though is just with the last the last few weeks with Markstrom, because of like games where it hasn't been a crazy only letting 2 save a million. He probably won't get Vezina this year because of the numbers, and it sucks. Shesterkin does deserve it, of course, but I wish there was still a bit more talk. But that talk really did die down since when we go on the really good February. Yeah. So let's say end of February, start of March is when it kind of died down.
I think Markstrom is a top 3 goaltender in the league right now, but he won't win the Vezina because of what you were saying.
Yeah.
With Igor is just going off with the Rangers, and he's a big part of why they've been doing that. But again, the Flames are not in that situation because other than just the goalie, we're built a completely different way than how the Rangers are. I'm again not saying the Rangers are bad.
I know what you mean. They're very offensive minded, right? Especially and that can be kind of proven with their acquisition with Andrew Kopp and Frank Vetrano.
Exactly.
Right? You're getting that forward depth. Kind of works out for them if, for say, Ryan Strome can't be signed because of cap problems for New York. So that's really nice. I was also going to add as well. Yes, so the Seattle game. I was going to mention this one. It was a win. They shut it down. The one thing I did like about it was you got secondary scoring. None of the first liners scored. Hanifin had 4 assists that game. So that was really great.
I think Hanifin is really proving to be that top
how he's come in
for the Flames.
I just love how he's come into his own, right?
He's going to hit 40 points this season. And for a defenseman on the Flames, that's actually...
Well, for defense, you can't complain, right? Even Rasmus Anderson has 44 assists.
Yeah. Again, it's not a very offensive defense that we have. No. We're built to, protect our goalie and get the puck out of our zone. That's how you see this team. Because we don't have a Makar or Adam Fox.
Yeah.
Could have had Adam Fox. So that was a fun Rangers game we went to. Good times. But no, this defense isn't built like that. the one true offensive defenseman I could see on this team is Oliver Shillington.
Yeah,
That's the true one. But that also evens out because you have Chris Tanev as a defenseman. And he's probably one of the best defensemen out there.
Yeah.
And obviously he won't get the credit for it, but he's still a good defenseman. He puts up 24 points in the season. His plus minus is 30.
That's
His plus minus is 30.
Kind of shows that he does his thing. He does his thing well, eh?
And so actually, I'm looking at these stats right now, and the worst plus minus on this team was Sean Monahan with minus 15.
That kind of makes sense though with everything. I mean, it just sucks.
Second worst, Lucic with minus 6.
Okay.
Third worst, Dubé with minus 3.
And then who's fourth worst?
Brett Ritchie.
Minus what?
4.
That's 4. Okay, so there's a few.
Well, I guess he's technically Brett Ritchie's second, Dubé is third, but Dubé has picked up his game a lot since that.
Oh my goodness, yeah, that was also talking point we're gonna talk about. Yeah, Dubé, man.
Dubé, I'm not trying to say I called it, but I knew he would have this. I kind of figured he would have a slump year, but he is picking it a lot. And the goal opportunities he had lately, I really wish he puts it in the net. But dude, he's setting up some good opportunities.
I think he will too. I think that's the same problem with Coleman got the tip goal, but I think that was the problem with Coleman. Coleman would gets a lot of good scoring opportunities, just can't finish it.
Yeah, Coleman as well.
Same as Toffoli.
Tyler Toffoli, Mangiapane.
Well, I was gonna say with Mangiapane, he's been kind of dead for 20 games.
Yeah, he slowed down a little bit since he hit 30. I don't know why he did, but I think, again, it's hockey players. It happens. Everyone has that little up and then goes back down.
It would be nice to see a little bit of shine before playoffs, but you know what? He could be someone that just comes out of nowhere. He played pretty solid in the 5 games we had in 2019 playoffs.
Yeah, for sure.
That was when he was really young on just getting on the team, right? So
he's going to hit 50 points though. He's only 2 away.
That's good. So that's gonna be good.
If he doesn't, I'll be really, really concerned about Mangiapane.
This Flames team might be the most deep since even at more than 04, because 04 was not supposed to even make the playoffs. That
wasn't that a 7th seed down?
It was Flames were 7th seed, weren't even supposed to make the darn playoffs, and they beat their Wings. The Red Wings.
Oh, I remember.
Right,
Well, I don't remember it, but yes, I know what you're talking about.
You know what I mean? So it's but this team, on paper-wise, probably might be the best Flames team that's been put together since '89. That's not a joke. In the sense
I
of
could
just
see them beating 2019
with skill and all of that. That's what I mean. I'm not saying it means that this team is going to be like the '89. Just in the sense of on paper, it's like with Edmonton, how people are talking about it, that Edmonton has had the best forward offensive group since the early 90s, which is true because McDavid, Draisaitl, Evander Kane, right, and then you have depth centermen and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and forward depth with Hyman and Puljujarvi.
I could totally see where you're coming from because even if you look at the standings, Alberta owns the Pacific right now. If you really look at it, Alberta owns the Pacific, and it was like that in the 80s with Gretzky and Gretzky with the Oilers and the Flames with Lanny and all those skilled players as well.
We have our own Al McInnes now with Michael Stone with his slap shot.
Oh, hell yeah.
I love that guy, bro.
Honestly, I love when the commentators said, oh, you know who that slap shot reminds me of? Al McInnes. Yeah. Okay, hold on.
You know what? You know what?
What?
I'm thinking about this. Flames make the finals. Not saying they will. If they do, I think I buy myself a Michael Stone jersey. What do you think? You think I made that bet? If they make the final, I will buy a Michael Stone jersey. Get the patch. Get the finals patch.
I'll get a Dylan Dubé jersey with the patch.
I bet you Michael Stone won't even play a game. He probably won't even.
Actually,
he'll play one game. He depends on
I don't know why he wouldn't. I would prefer Michael Stone over Zadorov right now.
Dude, even Connor Mackey has been has some upside. Dude,
he is.
This is why I'm excited. Even if we lose, we cannot.
We have to make it the third round.
I know.
At least, I won't be mad. I won't be completely mad if we at least make it to the third round.
I don't want to lose any of these players, but even if we do, just in a few years with our up and coming forward group in Stockton, plus Matthew Coronado and Rory Cairns, and I'm trying to think of who else, but there's you might be down. You know what I mean? You might lose a few because of cap. Oh, sucks. Come back. Oh my goodness, where did this guy come from? Oh, from the prospect pool. Oh, I can't complain about that. You know what I mean? So
That's true.
fun. Soon Pelche. I just hope that might happen because of a playoff run. But if they can get some time off for Stockton, and we're solidified and all that in the playoffs, I hope the last few games I'll watch them because I kind of want to see I hope Peltier and Matthew Phillips and Connor Zary can get in the lineup and just play a few games.
If the Flames take a dip, want to watch some AHL playoffs.
We might have to watch them
because
some Calder Cup, man.
Honestly, I would looking at how Stockton has been playing, because they also clinched first in their division, which is actually really funny to me that both teams have clinched first in their division.
Aren't the Condors also second? Like Edmonton's AHL, like Bakersfield?
Let me double check.
You have to check that.
No, they're fifth, but they have clinched though. They still have clinched a playoff
yeah.
spot. They're actually not that bad too. Like, honestly, I won't be completely mad either if even Stockton won it. If they won Calder.
Can you imagine?
Could you imagine if we took a third round exit and I'm like, oh well, we made it this far. There's a good chance we can sign everyone still. But then Stockton wins. That looks so good for a future because you look at the prospects in that pool and it's like, okay, we might not be in a terrible spot if we lose.
That's why Sheldon Keefe got his job in Toronto when the Marlies won, right? Exactly what that was. They've had a few of their players come up from there. I think Liljegren was that, as well as
Yep, because the Leafs drafted Liljegren in the second round of Matthews.
Mikheyev, I think, as well. I'm not
100% sure.
Leafs fans are gonna they can tell me in the comments. I don't know.
They can tell us in the comments. Cole Abbott, where are you?
What was I saying? I was saying.
Shout out to that guy. Or I might have to cut that. Either way.
Stockton, that coaching. Yeah, I lost my train of thought, but
anyway.
I was gonna say this just came into my head, but has it ever been possible that, or has it ever happened where the AHL affiliate won the Calder Cup with their NHL team winning the Stanley Cup in the same year? I wonder if that's a thing. That is just came into my head.
Okay,
wouldn't that be weird, eh?
That is so weird if that even happens. Now you're making me curious as hell.
Search that one up. But while you search that up, I was gonna also talk about. So we went through that. Our depth. Seattle. This road trip also showed our depth. And I'm glad it's sustainable because
it was kind of slacking last 4 games
Gabranson was out with the illness. Simon Zadorov came back, and then Stone came in as well. Connor Mack was called out. Adam Ruzicka was also called out because Shillington also was gone. Did it to injury. And, yeah. I'm not really complaining right now, right? Our depth has been solid and is showing that's a big strong point with our team.
Okay, I did find something on this, and it actually shows there has been 3 teams that have their AHL club and their NHL club win their league's national championships in the same year. So the first one was in 1996 and 1976 and 1977 with the Montreal Canadiens.
Okay.
And the most recent one was in 1995 when the New Jersey Devils won. Both of their AHL and their NHL. So it is possible.
Okay, that's something.
Yeah.
I just thinking about it.
That
It's
is
kind of funny.
Huh.
Well, I was thinking too. Okay, so I'm thinking with the Pittsburgh Penguins, how good their prospect pool has been. I'm like, has that been possible? Because the Scranton Penguins, I was like, a lot of their prospect pooling and scouting is really good. So I was gonna say maybe the Wilkes-Barre Bear.
It looks like Calgary's is also. It looks like Calgary's is potentially really good too. Actually the best team in the AHL right now is the Chicago Wolves.
Okay.
So that is Chicago Blackhawks affiliate team, I believe. So they're right behind them by 8 points. So
wait, so Stockton's second in the league?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's not bad at all.
No.
You were also saying that Dustin Wolf is having an absolutely
ridiculous year.
This dude, literally, it's like Markstrom's gonna retire or get old, and then it's boom, Wolf could literally just take his place.
Vladar will be like, oh, this kid's my replacement? Okay.
1A, 1B, man.
What? Yeah, actually, oh, God. Well, because we still have Markstrom for like 5 more years.
Yeah, 5 years. Which,
I think, actually, that would be really good for Dustin Wolf as Markstrom as kind of bringing him up.
oh, man, I hope.
Because probably in like 2 years, I could either see Dustin Wolf making the jump next year or the year after.
I think it's going to be a few more years. Well, that's true.
Making a jump at least to see if, let's see
yeah.
how this kid, he's amazing in the AHL. Let's just at least see how he does.
Why is no one talking? Well, it makes sense, the AHL, but I feel like there should be at least a little bit. Because there's always goalie talk where it's like, this young coming. Like, think of like Askarov, right? When Preds picked him, they're like, oh, look, this guy's going to be crazy.
When it happens, obviously.
Yeah, but
I've seen the talks with. I've seen a few. Talks
it was
with
always
Dustin
Spencer Knight and not Dustin Wolf. I mean, I understand why, but Dustin Wolf should get some credit, man.
Because I'm pretty sure during that juniors run, I think Spencer Knight was the starter and Dustin Wolf was like the second or the first backup.
Yeah,
he was one
true.
of the backups, but he actually performed really well in the juniors as well. But Spencer Knight was on a different level because he was more developed and older. That's the only reason.
It's just I've always been intrigued with Dustin Wolf because when I found out about his time in Everett with the silver tips, how that dude was literally, he had like 33 and 4 or something. It was like
actually, you know what?
Crazy stats.
You know when
literally, dude, I'm like, this is really nice to know that we have some like up and coming a promise.
Yeah,
when it comes
promise
to the
up
back
and
end.
coming for sure. But actually, you know where I think Dustin Wolf will probably get most of his like finally appreciation will probably be in the juniors on August because he'll probably be named the starter for the juniors. I wouldn't be that surprised.
How old is he? Is he able to still?
Actually,
I don't actually know his age, but
that's a very good question.
Isn't it U20? It's not U21.
Oh wait, I might be wrong. Because
I don't know. Maybe it's good for teams. Canadian teams are a lot like that. Probably good if teams don't are not talked about so much because then it kind of like comes out of nowhere. It's like, oh,
he's 20.
Oh no, so maybe
he was drafted in 2019, 214th overall.
Oh, okay. So he'll be 21 this year. Okay.
Yeah. So actually, his birthday is in 5 days.
Yeah, no, so I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. He could have played. So actually, if the juniors went on before the whole COVID shutdown, he probably could have.
Yeah, but he was with Stockton, so I don't think he was.
Oh,
I think he's like committed to the junior, to the system now. So
he's trying to get up and play.
Well, it makes sense. Like, given like some years, like goalies take some time. So
well,
but
actually,
it's nice.
sometimes they ask the players if they want to go play and they accept it.
Maybe he gets. I don't know if there's gonna be a playoff rate. If there's gonna be a playoff, if there's gonna be some playoffs for them. I don't know if they're gonna all be called up, but we'll see. It's just great to see that even Stockton's kind of taking some W's. I would like a Stockton Heat jersey. That'd be kind of hype to get.
Oh, that would be pretty hype for sure. But Tristan, I don't have much more to add on the Flames anymore for how they've been playing. They're playing a lot better on that 4-game win streak for sure, and I really hope they keep it up. But I've run out of things to say. How about you, Mike?
Well, I'm just want to add one more thing. I want to talk about Johnny Hockey.
Yeah,
Simply
for sure.
because he's at 99 points. One more point and he's gonna break the 100. And so his mama and pop are gonna be in the stands. I was just reading this today. Well, they'll be in the stands for
the Kraken?
tomorrow. I think they'll be for the week. But man, it's just nice that Johnny's it's just wow. It's just been a treat just to watch him play this year. He's absolutely taken his game to another level that I didn't think he would.
Does he break 100 after?
I think he breaks 100, and I honestly think the way that Sutter I think he goes well under Sutter's system, and I think because of that, I think it pushes him to be even to sustain himself in the playoffs. Right?
I really hope so.
Really hope so. Man, it's just been awesome to see him, and he's just been. Right, like he is now. Like honestly, once he breaks his 100 points, and let's see, I think he'll probably get like 104, 105 maybe.
Yeah, who knows?
Right, like he's in the Iginla talks of like Great Flames now because of this. I know nothing with playoffs, but because of breaking 100, you are up to that standard of being that. So that's really something, right? And
that's very true.
It's just, yeah, it's been great. Honestly, man, finding this like love for the team again kind of thing, and of course this being with Johnny hockey, being that forefront again. Because think of it, it's like I remember the 2014-2015 series and being like, wow, I can't wait, right? It's gonna be led by like Monahan and Johnny Hockey and Michael Ferland and all this stuff, right? And
5 years
and
later,
it's just it's been what was that, 8 years now? 7 years, 7 years now, and it just has never gone to that point that we've wanted to, but. This year feels, oh man, I keep whatever, but just because how it is with Sutter and
say
stuff.
so much better.
Man, I don't know. It's
so
just,
hard.
Ultimately, it's just been a treat to see Johnny Hockey play this year. Let me quickly actually pull up the stat I was talking about.
I have stats right in front of me.
Okay, you can just pull your stats up if you want. Yeah.
You want me to go off of Gaudreau stats?
Yeah, just go off of what you're going to say.
So Gaudreau has played 72 games, so he's played all his games so far this season, and he has 34 goals, 65 assists, 99 points with a plus minus of 54. That's really impressive.
Yeah.
That is like for how Johnny has been playing over the years, that is actually really impressive. I'm really happy he does that. I would love to see if he can continue it during the playoffs. Mm-hmm. There is another player on here I do want to actually mention that he's basically at 90. He's at 89 right now. Mm-hmm. Do you think he hits 100? And it's Matthew Tkachuk.
I hope he does. I don't know. I think he gets like 100, 101.
I think he gets like. I don't think he hits, if he does hit 100, good for him. But I think he gets just underneath, like 98, 97. I think he just hits it. Or like just underneath.
I gotta say, like all these players on that line are good no matter where you put them. Like Lindholm will still score.
I think he scores 40. I think he almost gets 80.
Lindholm will get 40. But there's some talk about that, like, is Johnny Hockey just carried, or like, are these players carried by one? But I think they all just work well. I think all of them are just good players, and especially under a system that just works well for them.
Finally.
And it's just
like how many coaches?
Yeah.
How many coaches with Gaudreau?
I'm telling you, it's the fact that we're with Daryl Sutter, and I think it shows because of all these like number one stats that Flames are number one, and all these advanced stats and stuff like that. I know it's little things that don't really matter, but at the end of the day, that shows that this team has taken a step. And a crazy big step from last year specifically, right?
Yeah, for sure. I still think
it's just something.
I think it's insane to still think, like, if you listen to the Daryl Sutter interviews, he's very one-worded. He only mentions like one word, and I kind of like him for that. But he still thinks this team is underdogs just because of their market, just everything.
100% we're still underdogs.
You're right, but
even if we play Vegas for say,
we are still underdogs in that situation,
even we're still underdogs. 100% we are, and we're gonna be underdogs. And honestly, it's probably good to wear it with pride, because I think that could take you somewhere. But
for sure.
I was saying with the Gaudreau, so this was from FlamesNation.com, but they were saying through 72 games, Johnny Hockey has 99 points, 78 even strength points. That's pretty darn good, man. Almost 80 points even strength. He won't be the fastest Flame player to ever hit. That was Nilsson. And 64 games in 80-81, but his production and consistency, especially at strength, stand up well against the French's best single season. In fact, he's on pace to have the best even strength season in franchise history, right?
Yeah, that's a lot to say. That deserves something.
Just awesome.
Love to see it.
It's been so great to just watch, to see the season, how it's been. It's just been.
What a ride!
It's been a ride. Of course, right? Things might be completely different, say in a month from now, but.
Who knows?
Man, it's exciting.
Yeah, so
a man can dream, right?
A man can dream. But guys, I would like to thank you so much for pitching into another episode. Guys, we are only 10 games away until playoffs for the Flames.
I cannot wait.
Probably by the next episode, we'll probably be, I don't know for sure, sometime this week or maybe next week, who knows. But we're getting closer and closer to the playoffs, and we're so excited. If you guys really did join this episode, we would love if you leave a like, a comment for any other ideas that you guys have for us, and maybe subscribe. We're pretty cool, I guess. You're not annoyed by us by now. You probably never will be. Tristan, I'll give it off to you.
Oh, perfect. Good send-off, eh?
Perfect send-off.
Man. But hey, thank you guys so much for listening. If you guys have any comments or whatever, just leave them down in the comment section on the YouTube there. You can follow us down at Puck and Stuff. Podcast?
Puck and Stuff Podcast.
I'm dementia, man. Puck and Stuff Podcast on Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, and Buzzsprout. And so, hey, yeah, you can follow us on there. But hey, guys, thank you so much for listening, and we will talk to you again soon.
See ya.